Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Gen Ed. And we are super excited to have with us someone actually from our own Wave team who
Woo
is the
woo.
fabulous video media lead, Alison Chang. So, Allison, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Alison Chang. I live in London and I study in the city. And I grew up here, although I was born in Taiwan. I moved here when I was about 6 years old. And yeah, I'm really into acting and all things theatre, especially sort of directing and taking that front, taking things into my own hand. So I've been into musical theatre ever since I was a really young child, and now that I've grown up a bit, I've decided to go into the niche of script writing and also just a lot of filmography, and hence why I am the video media co-lead here at Wave. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I didn't know that you were interested in theater. I too am into. Have you
Yeah.
ever gone to see a play at the Globe?
Oh no, not at the Globe in the Shakespeare Theatre in London, unfortunately. I don't know why actually. I think I was meant to, especially during COVID, but then obviously everything shut down. But
Mm.
definitely in the West End, and I was lucky enough to go to New York once, and we got to see so many shows on Broadway.
Oh,
Um,
what shows?
yeah, it was like Come From Away, Dear Evan Hansen. There was also
Yes, I'm going to go see the Broadway tour of Dear Evan Hansen in Toronto
You're
uh,
gonna love it. It's
in
so
2 years,
good.
I think.
Bring some tissues though, because it's really heartbreaking. Yeah. Iceman Cometh. There were so many more. I can't remember
Mhm.
now.
I think Wicked is like a classic you have to see, and Phantom of the Opera. It's like
I went to go
Broadway.
see
Oh,
Wicked on
definitely.
Broadway in
Yes.
like 2014.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you guys seen like shows like Matilda or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Because I feel like those are
mhm.
more British, but they're definitely still popular, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I've gone and seen both. Um,
Yeah. Cool.
Not musicals though. I don't know if we're still talking about musicals right now. I haven't seen the musicals of either of those.
Oh, they are musicals.
Mhm.
We have them in the West End, and they've been running since like for forever. To be honest. That's
That
not
I've
a
never
musical in
seen.
America? Wow.
Mm-mm.
Well,
I've never
Louis
seen it
is
at
in
least.
Canada. Um,
Oh, right,
All
of
right, so
course.
I'm isolated.
yeah, but in the
Oh,
US,
Cultural isolate.
no, I think there is like I remember like watching the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade. Like, how much more American can you get from that? But like,
yeah,
there's been like little clips, or not clips, like they do little acts and scenes from. And I remember Matilda was one of them, but it's also like a
yeah.
movie too.
Can I just comment?
Mhm.
Thanksgiving is not a thing here. Like, it's
It's
just
not a thing
really
here
not a
either.
thing here.
That's why I said it was such an American thing.
Like, we have a Thanksgiving. It's a different date than American Thanksgiving. It's like a month later or a month earlier. I honestly don't know, but there's a month's difference between them at least. But
Ooh.
it's just a day off, and really, it's just an excuse for our teachers to give us extra homework. Um, and that's really all it
That
is.
doesn't sound
Honestly,
like a
that's my
Thanksgiving at
first
all.
memory of high school, which starts in 7th grade here, is getting a ton of homework for Thanksgiving weekend. And it was just a bunch of grammatical exercises and writing assignments, and like that's it. That's all I had, and that was like the first like huge assignment I had in high school, and it stayed with me ever since. Like, Thanksgiving weekend is the homework weekend of the term. Like,
Now
that's
you're
when you
tortured
really
by
you
Thanksgiving.
exactly that's when you
That
really
sounds like,
learn to know your teachers.
yeah, that sounds like a terrible holiday in Canada. What are you guys thankful for? Why is there a Thanksgiving?
in
Oh,
in the
in
US?
in
I mean,
Canada,
I
I
know
don't
in the
know.
US it's for the American Revolution, right?
No, isn't that for like the
No,
Pilgrims and the
it's for
Mayflower
the
and all of that?
Pilgrims.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, okay. What about
yeah.
in Canada?
I don't know. It's to have a Canadian equivalent to the American one, I guess.
You're
An
just
excuse
so
to eat.
thankful to your teachers that they give you homework.
Well, I know that Ontarians celebrate Thanksgiving, but it's definitely not a thing like in the States. Like, there are no parades whatsoever. Honestly, we don't have that many parades here in general, except for Pride. That's literally the only parade we have, and maybe Canada Day. But this year was canceled for various reasons: the Indigenous schools, the children that were found, etc., etc., etc. But the U.S., they have a parade for absolutely everything. Like, there's a parade for every other holiday.
Yeah.
Is there a Christmas parade? Is that a thing?
Actually, in San Antonio.
A Christmas? Is there a Christmas parade?
I don't know about Christmas. I don't think so, but I'm not quite entirely sure. In San Antonio, we actually have a parade called the Battle of the Flowers. And it's like
Ooh.
just a day to party. It's like a whole week. We get off like a day of school, and there's just a ton of parades. I think I'm such a poor person to talk about this parade because I don't even know what it's about. I think there's like some flower battle, and now they such a Texan
what?
thing. They like
That is so random.
a flower battle. Yeah, it's like I don't know.
That is a great hashtag. I want someone to give me a hashtag flower battle t-shirt. Like, put
it's
that
called
on
the Battle of
please.
Flowers. Yeah, and it's a crazy thing. Like all of San Antonio like goes to this like thing, and it's a really big celebration. It's in April, but
well, the more you know. Thanks
That's
for that.
crazy.
It's really interesting.
I mean, are there parades in London besides like the Queen and King?
Yeah, I mean, like
King. What king? What?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
King, I guess. No, Queen Elizabeth's never gonna die. She's immortal. But I'm not really sure because I'm not a very big parade fan myself. But we've obviously got the Notting Hill Carnival, which is super, super popular every. I'm not sure if it's every year, but I'm gonna say it's every year. Oh god, I don't want to come onto this podcast and be like, oh, I don't know anything about London at all. As far as I know,
planning on calling it Life in London, but we may have to retitle that. So far, we've spent only an infinitesimally small part of it talking about London.
Talk about parades the whole time.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So what's it like going to university in London? How's it like studying theater?
Oh, I'm not a university student yet. So I'm actually still in high school, which is called secondary school here, but I've just graduated. Like, I want to put that in quotation marks because I've just done my GCSEs, which is like, I guess if Americans work towards their SATs, the British people work towards their GCSEs, and you take them when you're 16, and once you're done, there's no legal requirement for you to stay in education any longer, so you can go into whatever you want to do. So that could be apprenticeships, like you can find jobs, but I'm going into college or sixth form, which is basically just your second last years in high school, and during those years you get to really focus down on like what you want to study. So for the first couple of 5 years in high school, so during secondary school, you take 11 subjects, that's the standard, and it's quite a broad curriculum. And then once you get into sixth form, you narrow it down to maybe 3 or 4 subjects, sometimes even 5 if you're extreme, and you really, really go in depth with those. So I guess I'm studying Latin, biology, chemistry, and religious studies / philosophy / ethics for my A-levels. And then hopefully for university, I hope to narrow it down to, I'm really keen in studying anthropology at the moment. I know that's not like, I'm probably not going to be employed in the future, but I think it's a really interesting study.
You are literally a mini me from like 2 years ago. First of all, okay, all of that is my specific curriculum. I did the International Baccalaureate program, and I did my extended essay thesis in linguistic anthropology, or what they call social and cultural anthropology. I don't know why they have to add social and cultural, because that's what anthropology is to begin with, but whatever. And I studied the impact of the sociocultural changes in Heian period Japan on the development of hiragana in women's literature.
Wow.
which was not fun. which was really a pain because I decided to choose a subject from halfway across the world, and I did not have any resources at my disposal for the subject. There's just a lot of literature that I could read, but a lot of it was antiquated. No one has really studied like Japanology, which is not an official term, but that's what they like to use back in the 20th century. No one really has studied that since like the 60s. It's Westerners don't really talk about that anymore. And yes, I can read some Japanese, but I'm not at a proficient reading level to go through academic papers. So I basically just had to base myself on a lot of translated work, a lot of foreign work, like let's say East Asian and Japanese departments from other universities. There's like a lot of them in France actually that are very fascinated with Japan still, and they have huge departments studying this. So I basically based myself a lot on French sources, translated sources, and then like 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s sources. And a lot of it was not directly on my subject. And the reason why I chose my subject is because it was difficult and because it was very obscure, but I went way too deep down the rabbit hole and disposal. And so it was a real pain. So if you do go into anthropology, definitely choose something that is much closer to what you know. Don't go into the obscure because you'll never find a way
Thank you
out.
for that advice.
So you mentioned, Allison, how you were interested in biology and chemistry. What aspects of that? What got you interested into that?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't really know how to answer this. I think I just wanted to keep my options open. So I'm doing half humanity subjects and then half sciencey subjects because, to be honest, I do want to pursue education in the United States for university. And I know that for the majority of universities there, you've got a really, really wide range of subjects. Like you go in the UK, you go into university straight off the bat, you're studying your major, and so that's why there's only 3 years of your degree course here, but I know in America it's like 4 years. So yeah, I guess I just chose biology because I'm really interested in the evolution side of things, and for chemistry I really like organic chemistry, so like studying hydrocarbons and how you make fuel. I think that's really interesting, how you can apply science to real life situations. So yeah.
Have you taken organic chemistry yet?
Yeah, but I don't think we've delved deep enough. So if you ask me a question right now, I'm like 98% I won't be able to do it.
Because you speak with the admiration of someone who has never actually taken organic chemistry and felt that pain.
Have you?
No, it's a really important course and a really important subject, but it's like it is one of the
Yeah,
most difficult
for sure.
like freshman courses that you could
Oh, for
take.
sure, yeah.
Well, it's not freshman in all universities, but it's like second year
Yeah.
sophomore course. Anyhow,
Yeah, I'm planning on majoring in biochemistry. I'm going to like go to my first year at college. So, I love like physical chemistry and all that
Ooh.
jazz, like electrochemistry. I really liked electrochemistry, surprisingly, except I hate the physics aspect of it. I just
Yeah, I don't think
don't
anyone likes
enjoy
physics.
physics.
Yeah.
I actually went into a program, which surprising. Okay, what's really surprising that I didn't realize is that actually here in Quebec, our education system is really similar to in the UK, wherein we have 5 years of high school, which is secondary school, from like 7th grade to 11th grade. And then after that, we have 2 years of college, which is cégep. And then we go into a 3-year university bachelor's. And we start off with our major right away as well. So we don't have a freshman year. A lot of foreign students coming here will have a freshman year, but we start off in our first year and our sophomore year. And that's what I'm going into. So I've already done a lot of the freshman courses in my college, which is my cégep. And so I already did organic chemistry. I already did basic biology. I did cellular biology, physiology. I don't remember where I was going with this, but I just know it's really
No,
similar,
yeah,
and
it sounds
it really
identical.
surprised me how similar
Yeah,
it was.
it sounds literally the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So have you thought
it's
about
not
what
the case for the rest of Canada. Like Ontario, Manitoba is not the
Uh-huh.
same.
so have you thought about what universities you want
Anyhow,
to
you were
look
saying,
at?
Alana.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Um, specifically for America, I'm thinking of the five university that what am I saying? The five universities that give need blind admissions, like they do that sort of thing. Because I will be looking for financial aid, and so it would be really helpful if that didn't have an impact on my actual application. If I were to stay domestically in the UK, I really, really do want to go to an Oxbridge University, and or just a Russell Group University. So those are quite prestigious, and so I will have to work my butt off. But I hope that is where I end up. Yeah. How
Yeah,
about you guys?
school in America
Well, I
is
hope you definitely end up there.
yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, school in America is definitely expensive. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't want to be in debt for like half of my life.
It really boggles the mind every time you think about it. Like every time I hear about school in America, I'm just like, how can it be so damn
I
expensive?
know.
yeah.
Here, it's not as expensive as that.
Especially the
Honestly.
Ivy Leagues, like or the private schools, you're looking at like tuition anywhere from like 40 to 50,000 US dollars.
That is
And
disgusting.
and that's just tuition. So that's not even taking into account like boarding or textbooks or like groceries and food. Um, yeah.
Wow. Maybe I'm reconsidering.
I think if you apply to scholarships, like just apply, that's all you can hope for
Yeah.
is just getting a
I mean, you'll have
scholarship.
to get some kind
Yeah.
of scholarship to come to go study
I
in the
mean, hey,
States.
but international students, I think the rate is actually really low now for America due to COVID. So you could have a really good shot,
Ooh, okay.
Allison.
You could have a shot of getting in, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you'll have a shot at affording it. You'll have to find the scholarships to afford
True.
it.
I just don't know if the scholarships are available for international students because I've been looking at a lot of them, and
Well,
it's like,
there are some, I'm sure.
okay, I'll have to do some more research into it then.
Mhm.
Yeah, competitions as well.
Well, like I know at least like I was looking at doing doctorate studies at Oxford, and I know that there are scholarships like specifically for international students. So I'd assume there'd be something similar at like the Ivy League schools in the States, or really anywhere, or not anywhere, but in most places. I know in the States though that there are quite a few universities that don't accept international students. You have to be an American to frequent some of the universities, like University of Cincinnati. Some of their schools,
Oh.
you specifically need to be an American citizen to even enroll, which I found kind of
Yeah, that
interesting
is.
because that's not really a thing here. Anyone can enroll.
I know
Yeah, I
most
mean,
schools have an international department specifically for people coming out of the country, and um,
yeah, in the UK we take loads of international students. I think that's how most schools can fund themselves because they make the international students pay a lot more than home students.
That's why it's so difficult to obtain a scholarship as an international
Yeah.
student. You're supposed to be a source of revenue, not a
Exactly.
source of revenue loss.
Yeah, they expect everyone to be rich, like. But I guess it's just corrupt, like the way universities are sort of a business rather than an education facility. It's just, I guess, to me at least, it's not right. It doesn't sit right with me.
That's true. That is an issue with education. That's part of Wave's mission
Yeah.
as well, in a way. I mean, we're mostly aimed towards high school students, but we're also aimed towards, increasing the amount of democracy in the education system as a whole, and that also includes, the transition phase from high school to university,
100%.
and convincing universities to make their application and acceptance policies more democratic.
Love that. Oh my gosh. Yay. This is why us three are all volunteering here.
Exactly, exactly.
And Allison, I saw that you also volunteer with a nonprofit, Dear
Mhm.
Asian Youth. Could you tell
Yep.
us more about that? I know you do their video editing as well.
Yeah, okay. So I have a friend who is she's with Dear Asian Youth, but also with the Dear Asian Youth London branch. And I thought that was super interesting. And obviously, Wave is their mission sort of aligns with Dear Asian Youth in spreading um, just equality for the youth and giving the youth more chances. And I was like, oh, I would love to be behind this. And so I reached out to my friend. I was like, are there any openings in either of the branches? And she was like, no, but I'll let you know. And then one day, Dear Asian Youth opened up spaces for video editors, and I applied. One of the biggest things on my CV was like, yeah, I volunteer at Wave. Like, this is the exact sort of same non-profit style. I know what I'm doing. And yeah, I landed somehow, which is super cool. So far, I haven't been able to edit like too much because the team is quite large. So at Wave, our video editing team, so there's me, there's Lily, who's the co-lead, and then we have like a team of 5 video editors. With Dear Asian Youth, there are like sub branches within the team. So you've got editors that edit specifically for the Instagram, and then others for TikTok, others for YouTube. And currently they're not producing many YouTube videos, so I haven't been able to do much. But it is quite a nice community. I would say, in comparison to Wave, they're not as I don't know how to say this. Like, they're not as structured or organized. Like the whole team is organized on Discord, whereas on Wave it's on Slack. And so I thought that was really interesting, seeing Dear Asian Youth as such a big like brand at this point, that they use Discord. I was like, cool. Keeping in touch with the.
I find Discord is a really fascinating platform. I mean, I would like if Discord included the thread aspect that Slack has, because
Yeah,
that would really facilitate conversations. But then at the same time, honestly, on Slack, how many people actually use the threads? We we don't really use threads as efficiently as we could, I
true, but
find.
it's still
Like
nice
they're
knowing
pretty
that
much
they're
only
there.
useful for like announcement
Yeah,
situations. But like for actual conversations, it just gets really chaotic really
yeah.
fast.
I think with Discord, it's a bit scary to me because there's like, you just don't know who you're talking to, I think. Because on Slack, at least when you click on their profile, you have all this information about them. On Discord, it's like their profile picture is a meme of a cat or a frog. Um, and I don't know, I think it's just a bit scary.
Yeah, I don't know how to use Discord. I am like in a few
Neither do
groups
I.
and I go and I'm like, what does this do? And I'm like, it
Yeah.
starts playing music. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, and you have to like pay to be able to do reactions and stuff. So on Wave, I'm always doing those
Mm,
like, the happy dancey ones, like the do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
on Discord, I'm not allowed to do that. It's like it's a bit strange.
it is kind of annoying, but I do like how like I think what's really cool is how unstructured Discord is, because you can really customize it the way that you
Hmm.
want, especially with the bots, because that's not something that you can really do as easily in Wave. But in Discord, it's really easy to code and then integrate a bot into your server that to do something that would replace humans, which sounds terrible,
Whoa.
but honestly, sometimes I would rather be replaced by a robot and not have to constantly say hello to everyone. Uh,
Wow.
or, not have to send out reminders for this or that to people and just have a robot do it for me. It would make it much less awkward.
You're definitely a STEMmy kind of guy, right? You really said it's easy to
Uh,
code.
yeah. Well, I mean, I am one of the administrators of a youth nonprofit as
Ooh.
well, that promotes tech education coding in Canada and North America. So I do have some kind of background in code. Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's so great. I can like barely get this recording up and working. So,
Well, okay, that's a common misconception. Just because I know how to code doesn't mean I'm good at IT. That's why there's a difference between like IT degrees and computer science degrees and software engineering degrees. Because like just because you know about one aspect doesn't mean that you're actually good at everything else.
What is the
like
difference?
actually
You can know
working
how to
a
code
computer.
a program. Yeah. Like you can know, like people who know how to build computers know nothing about coding them. People who know about coding them know nothing about building them. And people who know how to code software don't necessarily know automatically how to use another piece of software. Like they don't have, because just because you can see something, you can think, oh, it might be coded like this, but you don't know because there are so many different languages. It's just like real human language. You see a facade of a person, and based on what they look like, you can make assumptions about what languages they might speak, but you honestly don't know until you interact with them and get beneath the surface. And that's the same thing with any piece of software. You look at it, you can guess, okay, well, this was probably made with this, but honestly, I have no clue. And honestly, you have to be really advanced to be able to guess what software was like, what coding language was used to program a specific piece of software. But
It's a really interesting
yeah,
analogy.
I don't automatically know everything about you were saying how to upload a piece of audio. I would not be any more enlightened than you as to how to do that if I had no experience with the software that you were using.
I mean, just doing the
It's like a common
podcast
meme.
was like a huge learning code, just like figuring out how to upload audio and then splice it all together. I remember editing the very first podcast and it taking me like 2 hours because I was trying to download Audacity and I was just downloading random software. I'm like, I don't even know what these letters mean. It's just telling me to go to JEF, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, I'm really interested in how you both started with the podcast. Like, I'm sure people would be interested to know how to start their own and what sort of software you use.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we use Anchor.fm for the distribution aspect, and that really simplifies things because, it automatically distributes it to Spotify, Google Podcasts, tons of other ones that I cannot name, but they exist as well, and people use them apparently. And you can listen to the podcast on any of those platforms, and Anchor just automatically sends it to all of those platforms for us. And we can also create the description on that and the title and have a little opening audio track, all of that put together, and all of those would be compatible with the platforms it sends it to as well. So that also really helps. As for the audio splicing, I haven't actually set up an episode yet, so Alana has more input on that aspect.
Well, Louis is going to soon be learning how to do all of the splicing.
I'll do it tonight.
But I know Dan, the podcast, my co-host before, he would use Garageband just like on Apple, like MacBook, and I tried it and I just had no clue what I was doing. I think I edited maybe one episode with that, but Audacity really works for me. And I just downloaded. It's a free software, and
do you have Mac or Windows?
I have Mac, but I used Windows before, so I learned how to like do this whole editing on like an HP, and now I'm on a Mac. But Audacity works on a lot of different,
it
platforms,
does. GarageBand does not, however.
Yeah.
GarageBand
is such an OP
Apple.
piece of technology. I love that. It's like
I don't know how to use GarageBand.
It's so easy to use.
No, it's not.
No.
I remember when I was a kid, like having it because it's a pre-installed app on like most devices. That if you've got an Apple device, I remember seeing it on my iPad and I wanted to play with it, and I literally did not know a single thing. Like, are you musically gifted? Is that why? Can you play
When I was in
instruments?
elementary school, that's all we did. We played with Garageband on the school computers like all the
How?
time.
I don't
What?
get how it works.
We did like the
Well, there weren't
painting.
any other programs
Yeah,
on the
we did.
computer.
What's it called? I can't remember.
Picto. I don't.
Oh, the penguin, the Linux penguin paint that we did.
We
I
had
forgot
something
what it
else
was
like
called.
Scratch or something. Yeah.
Scratch.
It's like I just
The year
remember like
younger than us used Scratch. I never got to use
doing
Scratch.
what's Scratch? I don't even remember. It was like
That's
Scratch
like a
is like
coding
a
software, right?
it's a coding. It's like teaches kids to code with like little games and
Yeah.
stuff.
I remember
oh,
being terrible at them.
I remember like elementary school in the U.S. They would try to do these games like to get us to type, like the right way.
Oh yeah.
But people would just
Yes.
poke the keyboard, and I'm over here A B C trying to do it right way. But now I can like
T-Rex hands.
yeah
Oh my
yeah
god.
T-Rex hands.
Do you guys know how?
We actually didn't have that in elementary school.
Do you guys?
I only started typing classes. Well, I didn't have typing classes. We're not in the 70s, but I had a generalized tech class where we specifically were forced to learn to type faster, and forced being the keyword there. And we started that in like 7th grade, 8th grade, when I was already in high school. Yeah.
Lovely.
That's my main memory of my tech class. Like, first it was the typing, and like basically being traumatized because you could not type fast enough, and your grade depended on how fast you could
Really,
type.
that's tough.
And yeah, it was really weird. Like it was almost directly related. Like you would have your typing speed, and your grade would be like 2 times that. So if it's 40 words a minute, you'd have an 80. If it's 50 words a minute, you'd have 100.
Oh,
And then it went down, like it was only 1.5 times that the next year. So if it was 40 words a minute, you'd only get like 60, and then you would have to get like you'd have to get at least 60 to get a 90.
God.
have you guys
Right now I think I only tap at like 60 words a
60
minute.
words,
I
yeah.
practiced for the I practiced for the med school exam, the Casper examination, which is like a replacement for MCATs in certain universities. And it's more popular here in Canada, but I know that certain universities in the States also use it. And for that, you have to like type responses to situational problems, and you only have a limited amount of time. You have like 5 minutes per question, and there's like 3 sub questions. So I had to type a lot for that.
Wow.
So did you plan on going to medical school at one point?
Oh yeah. Up until about 10 months ago, I was going to go to med school.
What changed?
I decided I didn't want to go to med school.
Well,
That's as simple as that. After I made the application and all of that, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to go to med school right away. Because I decided that I didn't want to limit myself like that. I want to get an actual bachelor's first. Because here you don't have to get a bachelor's before med school. You can get into med school and do 1 year concentrated pre-med and then directly enter into the program. I know that in the UK, because I did research about it, it's like an integrated thing where you get both a bachelor's and an MD degree at the same time. Here you don't get a bachelor's, you just get the MD degree.
oh, that's so
And it's
cool.
just 1 year more.
I haven't heard of it, but it sounds sick.
I mean, I looked at University of Edinburgh, and they have like a 6-year program where you do both, and it alternates between. That was kind of odd, I found. Like it alternated
Huh.
between theory and then you practical and then theory again. So like if you dropped out halfway through, you wouldn't have like a full degree. You have to do the full thing to get
A
both
full
degrees.
6 years. Wow. I could not imagine going through that. Like, also why I can't imagine being a doctor because of the amount of years that you have to go and study for. But like, are you guys interested in taking gap years though?
I mean, Alana, what's your opinion on
Okay,
that?
so
She's right now basically still in school, so
well, I've been doing this research program for a summer. You know what? Why would I spend 5 weeks of my summer doing a research program? I don't know. But anyway, I'm doing that, and then it continues. But I want to go to medical school. So that would be 4 years of like college or university, and then 4 years medical school. And then you go on like 3 years residency. And then, and then if you want to specialize
Fellowship,
into something, that's like another 2 years, which it's just like,
depending on the specialty.
yeah,
Wow.
depending on the specialty. And so I'm looking at something like oncology, like hematology oncology, which is like cancer. And so that there goes half my life. But you know what?
Mhm.
I like learning. I like people sometimes. So,
Sometimes, it varies.
sometimes.
Yeah. Are you?
I mean, hey, look, we with the technology that we have today, we can afford to spend half our lives doing things, because honestly, it's not even going to be half our lives anymore. It'll be like a third of our
Yeah,
lives.
but regarding
Like,
a
hopefully.
gap year, I would probably like I might do a semester abroad. So during my 4 years here, I might I want to go to Spain.
I would like to too,
Yeah.
honestly.
So
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
travel
but-
so badly.
I want to
Yeah.
try and like do like a semester abroad in Kyoto, and like at University of Kyoto, and in Japan.
Japan? Okay.
But to do that, I would have to. Yeah, the thing is, their semesters don't line up the same with ours. They start at different times, so it overlaps. So that might end up meaning that I would have to like take another semester. And if I have to take another semester, well, then I'll have like another half a year where I'm not doing anything. So it's kind of like a gap year,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, just going back to Alana really quickly. Are you a Grey's Anatomy fan?
I feel like not anymore. I feel like I just have to finish watching it all. Like I need to know
It's a long series.
I need to know what happened. So I like finished like up to season like the newest season. But it's not at all like a normal hospital. It's just all about like sex and dating and like
Yeah, that relationship and stuff.
How many seasons are there? I mean, they had to fill. They have to fill it
17.
with something. Like,
And it just keeps going.
17?
Yeah.
yeah. And like everyone
17
dies.
seasons.
Well, no
Oh my
spoilers.
I don't even know another show that has that many seasons. Like,
Days of
Yeah.
our lives.
That is long.
oh,
But I guess it's like the same
That's
length
crazy.
of how long it takes for you to become a doctor. It's like
That's a good one.
it's accurate.
well, I mean, I don't know. 17 years. They've basically gone through like the full cycle from like beginning of college all the way till
Yeah.
like end of your fellowship.
Yeah.
Now, like, they're running out of years to of things to show. I think at this point, like.
Yeah, but I think Shonda Rhimes is just a great writer. She always comes up with new things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I admire. That shows that can go on for longer than 3 seasons, because a lot of
Yeah.
shows, the first season is
It's
good.
very
The second
promising,
season is also
and
good,
then-
but by the end of the second season, a lot of shows, if their shtick is really too restricted, they kind of fall apart after the second season, and like you can feel that the writer is just grasping at straws at this
Yeah.
point.
So what's it like script
I mean,
writing?
like-
Oh, okay. Well, the process is like I think of an idea, I look at what sort of audience that I want to be targeting, and then it's just a whole process of brainstorming and seeing what goes well with what. So I'm quite new at script writing right now, but currently I've been sort of writing for shorter films and more student-like films. That way it's more attainable for me as I begin the journey. But I'm actually like an actress, so I have experience with like looking at other people's scripts, and it's really interesting learning off of them. I hope to take some courses in the future though for like script writing specifically. But yeah, on the topic of acting, like are you interested in the industry, or like are you familiar with?
I love how she's interviewing us more than we're interviewing her. I was going to ask you. I also am an actor. I was going to ask
Really?
you, however, what productions?
Yeah,
you've been
okay.
in.
I will ask you that afterwards as well because now I'm interested to know. But yeah, I'm signed with like an agency. So obviously, I said at the
Wow.
beginning where I was really interested in musical theatre. So I went to this like academy when I was really young, from the age of 7. And the director of the company at the time, he knew that I was really into acting, so he offered me whether I wanted to join the agency or not. And I accepted. I was like, of course. And so ever since then, it's just been sort of auditioning. Now it's a lot of self-tape, like online auditioning. But
Mm.
yeah, I've been in, have you heard of the film Justice League? It's like a DC comic time
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was in that, which was it was
You forgot we're talking. You're talking to North American audience here. It's impossible that we haven't heard of
You're kidding,
Justice
because
League.
like everyone I talk to in the UK, they're like, no, what's that? I have to be
No,
the old.
it's super
Yeah, but
popular. It's super
Really?
superhero
popular in
movies
the
are
But do you
States.
guys
huge here.
did you like it though? Are you like a DC or Marvel fan? That's always the conversation.
I much prefer the way Marvel does things. I mean,
It's
yeah,
okay.
their characters are kind of, it doesn't make sense how some characters are as strong as others and whatnot. But DC, I mean, they literally just used Superman as a Deus ex machina, and he just like saves everyone. And that's no
Yeah,
fun. Like if Superman just goes and what's the point of having the other people in the Justice League?
yeah. Me too. I'm a Marvel fan. I think DC takes itself too seriously sometimes, and it's just not. It's not fun anymore. Yeah, you're right.
And
But
this is from coming someone who was in Justice League.
I know. I feel like I feel like I've betrayed them. But the experience was so fun. I got to meet Gal Gadot. And this was when I was like pretty young, and so it was a huge experience for me. Um,
Pretty young. I mean, it only came out what, three
yeah,
years
but I
ago?
guess it films, and then you've got like a year of post production editing and
Mhm.
stuff, and then it comes out. So I was around 12 when it filmed, and now I'm 16. So yeah.
What did you do?
Oh, okay, 4 years ago. Yeah.
I literally sat at the back of this court and screamed for about 10 seconds. Um,
Hey,
yeah,
I mean,
you know what? It
everyone
was a paid
starts
job.
somewhere. Everyone starts
Exactly.
somewhere.
I don't know if you guys know, you probably do, but Justice League is like, at the time it was the highest gross. No, sorry, it was the highest budgeted film ever. So like, for me as an extra, I was literally schoolgirl number 3. I had my own trailer, like a proper like van to myself, and they gave me a chauffeur, which was insane considering I was literally a background extra. And yeah, so the budget of this movie was insane. Actually, fun fact, our trailer park was right next to the trailer for Kingsman, if you guys have heard of that. That's more.
Mhm.
Kingsman is
Yes,
awesome. I
me
love
too.
Kingsman.
I'm such a Taron Egerton fan. Oh, he's
Did you go check it out?
oh no, I wasn't allowed, but I was fangirling. Like, we weren't even allowed to take photos, which is such a shame. But yeah, I can't complain because they gave us free food, so it's all worth it.
Hey, I mean, can't complain with
No,
free
no,
food.
you can't.
That's
But yeah, like
amazing.
That is so fun.
apart from that, just a bunch of student shorts and ads here and there, and like educational films. How about you?
Well, I'm only an amateur actor. I am not in film, and I am not represented by an agency. Um, I don't plan on like making a career out of
Yeah,
it or
yeah.
anything. I just like doing local stuff. I do local theater and stuff. Um, so I've just done like local productions, theater, blah blah
Ooh,
blah. Um, yeah, not the same. My sister is going into acting, and my father was a director. But not
Oh,
I.
really?
No.
Wow,
wow.
a family of like theatre people. That's super cool.
Mhm.
You know what,
I
guys?
My mother was in film,
Wow.
but
You can't have me beat though. I was in the production of Annie when I was in kindergarten. I was a little orphan.
no.
Yeah,
oof.
That
just at
is
my little school.
unbeatable. What a flex. Oh my
You
god.
know, that's another thing. Elementary school theater is not something that I understand because that was not something that existed in my school community
Really?
either. Like, yeah, not my school, not the schools that I knew. Like, none of us had elementary school. Like, theater only started for me in 10th grade. I didn't do anything before that.
Wow, that's really like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, elementary school productions, I'd say, is not to be taken lightly. They are very serious, very hardcore productions. Like in the UK, we have the nativity plays, which is every Christmas we get to do this reenactment of Mary and Jesus being born. But yeah, they were very serious stuff. Like the teachers would be like, "You guys aren't hitting the correct note. You guys aren't doing this properly. Rerun the whole thing again."
Well, I mean, look, in the country where mystery plays turned into, the OG theater, it makes
Mhm.
sense. You got, it has to be taken very
Exactly.
seriously.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay, going off of this, since we are talking about theater, we should try different accents. I know it's going to be silly.
Oh no.
We're just using Allison
God.
as because she has the perfect podcast British accent. So this is like
Oh,
not a
gosh.
vocal warm up. We've been talking, but like a theater exercise.
Just so all of you guys know out there, all right? Alana wrote this down on our schedule for today's episode. We have a schedule and we don't normally follow it all that much, and we definitely haven't followed it too much today. But this was point number
Wow.
1 on the agenda for
Very
today.
important.
Just so you all know.
It was in parentheses, okay?
It was not. It was a full subpoint. And it had the asterisks around it and everything.
No, you guys have to try it. Yeah. Come on, hit me with your best British
No.
accent.
No, you got to tell us something to
This is-
say. I'm
Oh,
repeating
okay,
it.
okay. I'm not sure if you've heard, but like on TikTok, there's that one iconic phrase. It's like British chavs always say this. Apparently, but it's like, oh, it's Tuesday, innit? Hear that?
This is going to be so degrading.
Oh no!
Okay, Louis, you have to go first.
Why?
Because you're the one who's
Oh,
dreading this the
gosh.
most.
You can do it.
Should not have brought it up I should not have brought it up before we started recording. Okay. It's Tuesday. Wait, what is it? It's Tuesday,
Innit?
isn't it?
But you've got to say it like chew. It's like a chew. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's
okay, and now add some flair. Like, it's Tuesday, innit? Like,
It's Tuesday, innit?
It's
okay,
Tuesday,
yeah,
innit?
oh
my God.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good,
Innit?
honestly.
Gosh.
Innit?
What else? Innit? Innit?
I'm trying to think of like really British phrases. Why am I thinking of football talk?
Allison has a
Holiday.
very posh accent,
Holiday.
honestly. She, that's not something that I can easily reproduce, that North Americans can easily reproduce. She has a very posh
Yeah, but like,
accent.
oh no, not at all. I feel like I have
Yes.
a very standard like London accent, but I think it's a lot easier for British people to replicate American accents just because of all the media we consume.
Try it.
But,
Try
like,
it.
Mm.
Okay, so give me
Did you
some.
scream in American in Justice League?
No, I don't think it would have made a difference, to be honest. Just like in the cacophony of sound, like an American scream is. Yeah, I think it was a British scream. But give me something to say in American. I'll just try it out.
Okay, now Allison. What's something American?
What's something? Okay, we'll do something in a strong Southern accent.
Okay, wait,
because-
no, that's pushing it a bit. I don't want to.
A Southern drawl.
Okay, let me start with a Northern American.
You expect-
and then. Okay, so like
Ooh, you want like a Boston?
Alana's supposed to be able to do all of them. She's from both. She's from South,
Whoa.
North. She's from all over
She's
the place.
Wait, so do you want to do like a Boston accent? Like
I
a
don't like
or
it.
no,
Like,
not
typical
Boston, like
American.
Long
I feel
Island?
like the accent is what I picture a typical American to sound like.
What?
I feel like your accent is just the archetype of American accents. Like,
Okay.
I'd agree. Alana's accent definitely is the archetype
For
of
sure,
American
yeah.
accents.
Yeah, I live in Texas. I'm not originally from Texas, so I definitely don't have a southern accent.
Mhm.
But I am from like the Northeast, but I don't have like that typical like pocket car, like gonna walk my doggies and have a cup of coffee like
Oh my
that. Like,
gosh.
I don't, yeah, that's kind of thick. Okay, so,
Oh, I could not do that.
okay, Allison, um, I want you to say y'all, like, y'all better come here.
Y'all better come here. Y'all
That was
better
so
come here
nice.
and play
That
some
was.
soccer with me.
Let's go to the
I mean,
mall.
it was
Let's
that
go
was the right
let's go to the
accent, but it was
mall.
very nice. It was it was very posé. It was so
Oh, thank
nice.
you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. You can tell it's American.
Thank you. Maybe next time, if I'm ever hired to scream again, I'll do that in American.
Speaking of which, I'm trying to see if I can get an accent coach to come on the podcast. So we may have a similar episode. Well, something that's much better than
I will
this, but
definitely
we
be doing it.
we may have something like that, like this, happening in a few weeks to a few months, depending on how long it takes to get a hold of him.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can kind of hear Lewis's Middle East Midwest accent popping in here and there.
Since when was he Middle East? Like
What?
Lewis is looking at himself. I'm Middle Eastern.
I didn't mean to say that. I was
I-
thinking Midwestern. Sometimes it's like, oh,
I was like, I do not have a Middle Eastern English accent.
sorry, I didn't mean to say.
Like, I'm not from Dubai.
Yeah, like you're you're
Where do you
bilingual, aren't you? French and
I am indeed,
that's so
yes.
cool. I'm
Soon to be multilingual, but at the moment bilingual.
yeah. As soon as you got the Japanese under your belt. But can you say like
Mhm.
the
And
I
Spanish and
learnt
Dutch.
French in secondary school, so like I could probably converse with you in very, very broken French linguistics. Bonjour.
Eh bien, on est déjà à la 51e
Okay, never mind.
minute de
Never
notre
mind.
podcast. On pourrait avoir une conversation,
Yeah.
si tu veux.
So maybe my French proficiency isn't that like up to scratch.
Buongiorno.
C'est correct, ça ne
Yeah,
dérange pas.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Actually,
I didn't
yeah,
understand the word.
someone suggested having an entire episode in French at one of the Wave meetings, I remember.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how much Alana would be able to follow along, though,
Bonjour.
if that was the case.
That's it. Oui. No. Pardon.
Well, you know what? At least she could do the intro.
Bonjour, New Some Wave Learning Festival.
Bonjour.
That's about it. Yeah.
I could probably do it in Spanish. I
Ooh.
know enough Spanish.
I could not do it in
Yes.
Spanish, but I could understand it.
Mhm.
You guys should have a podcast episode where you're just speaking in different languages, guessing what.
And we don't know what we're saying
would
to
be-
each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
Oh.
That would be really
Uh-huh.
fun.
I would definitely be listening to that one. Let me know if that ever happens in the future.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. I think we're going beyond our time quite a much because I think
Oh,
we're just
wow.
like going off of each other, just talking.
Yeah.
But thank you so
Yep,
much.
we're
Thank you
really
for
far.
having me.
Yes.
This wonderful episode where Allison interviewed us more than we interviewed her.
Yes.
So we might require a part 2 at some point in
And
the future.
it's
I'd be
getting
honest.
late in London, so
Yeah. It's 11 p.m. now.
It is.
it's our bedtime.
All right, thank you so much for having me. This was a pleasure. And I'd love to do a part 2 in the
Thank
future.
you so much for being on the
Yes.
podcast. It was a pleasure to
Yeah,
have you.
so be sure to check out Wave's own YouTube and, of course, her other nonprofit that Allison is working with, Dear Asian Youth, where she has edited wonderful videos. So be sure to check out Wave Learning Festival and their YouTube. So thank you again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.